Assassination Classroom, Season 2, Episode 3. Third period, Itona Horibe Time? Wait, what? Itona Horibe Time. It's a pretty great idea. You should have made it smaller if you could. Like, or just hit him with it. Hit him with the tent. Death tent. The thing is, Koro-sensei lives by what he teaches, and he also has a hidden blade. It's perfectly reasonable to assume that we've barely scratched the surface of his abilities. And actually, a smart tactic would be to be really amazing, but to be so unegotistical about it that you never let anyone know. And on the contrary, you play up your weakness and fear. Don't worry, kids. It never stops being funny that they're so defensive of the person they're trying to kill. Uh-oh, we got an adult. A lot of that lately in shows. Get a big chip on your shoulder, kid. Time for a lesson. He just stands silently. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem that freaked out to me. Seems pretty calm. He's giving a monologue. You can't panic and monologue. Not like this. He's also learning. Yeah, that's been established. And it's really cool. Oh, it's so amazing. I love it. Yeah, the students don't even know. Students don't know. You don't let them know. Can't let them see. That's not good, though. It's not good for Earth, allegedly. I mean, if this is to be believed. This is terrible. We're making it better? It sort of has to be that way. Why can't you use doors? Well, I mean, he's sort of the antithesis in a certain way of Koro-sensei's teachings. Koro-sensei is very much a process-oriented thinker. And I've come to believe that there's this hierarchy of goals. And the highest level goal is sort of non-articulable. It's whatever the biggest, highest thing is on that objective spectrum of good. Even if by the nature of the thing, it's not definable. You can know it by being closer or farther away. And if you get even remotely close to that as an instinct, the methodology falls in place as a necessity of that pursuit. There's so many questions when it comes to learning something or doing something or being good at something. So many decisions to make. And the problem with giving advice about it is that they are all tools and there's a time and place for all of it. So like, should you master the basics first? Or should you jump in and get experience? Or should you rest? And the answer ends up being something like, yes, you should probably do the thing in the way that yields the most fruit to your structure and your core and your foundation, based very specifically on where you are and what the challenge you're meeting is, so that all future actions, no matter how you proceed, end up having a multiplier effect on your growth. And if you truly feel the pull of that higher thing, you can only sort of get the reward, get the feeling of satisfaction from meaningful improvement. Because it's about that high thing and not lesser things, it becomes nearly impossible to lie to yourself about what that thing is. And if you are lying to yourself, it might suggest that what you're actually seeking, what your actual North Star is, isn't the thing or that higher thing, but something that is unrelated to that thing that is maybe based in an untruth. It doesn't matter what you want to believe. This kid is losing partly because he's asking sort of the wrong question. It's the wrong focus. He is whatever level he is, and he's very focused on the signifier of the thing, the victory of the thing, maybe the completion of the thing, rather than the journey of it, the process of it, the actual thing itself, which is Koro-sensei's focus. And he catches him gingerly. This time. You okay? This could be a trap. Or it could be dying. Who knows? Who did this? Who designed this? It's very irresponsible of you. Dark ninja dude. Cold. That's the kind of teacher we don't like. Watch me be the principal. Alright, I mean, that's sort of what we wanted. It's cold and terrible, but we were trying to recruit him. Okay. I mean, if this is about saving the world, that's reasonable, but it feels like there's something more personal here. Bye. This kid just does not want to go to school. I can't say I blame him. Okay. You can't be out here doing this. Why cell phone shops? Maybe he's picking up the signals or something? Great question. Probably something sneaky. Everyone except for those high school kids in Kyoto, they could die.
近道はないんだぞ、イトナ。
I mean, this looks like it was a major shortcut. Oh, okay, someone else.
誠実に努力を続けた人だけが
Right.
強くなるんだ。
There it is, yeah. You took a shortcut. You went for the big one-time win. You thought would have proved something. It wouldn't have proved anything. And it wouldn't have actually had any effect on the reality of your ability. It's just trying to chalk up points to a narrative. This is one of the problems I think about maybe the most frequently in a lot of categories, because it's this thing where real value, real goodness is difficult and requires sacrifice in anything, like skills, knowledge, emotional management, being a measured person. There's a huge incentive to shift the focus away from the actual work of the thing and the goodness of the thing, what would be actual value and contribution of a thing, and towards something like a label game where nothing really has happened, nothing has been improved, but you're fighting on the front lines of like image building. So for example, taking someone down so that relatively you rise in status along that image game. Personal narrative building, for example, lying about who you are, what you've done, what you think, trying to affix static labels, you know, like I'm a good person, which sort of doesn't really have a reality. It's not the point, etc., etc. Now, there's also a parallel to the other side, because if you're just doing work and like just being busy and following some prescribed curriculum with no actual connection or intuition or meaning about the thing, it can be stale, it can be non-helpful.
やっと人間らしい顔が見れました。イトナ君。
兄さん。
コロ先生と呼んでください。
Brother sensei.
てめえにはいろんなことされたがよ。水に流してやっからおとなしくついてこいや。
I like how outspoken he became in the cast.
それが終わったら、そこでバーベキューでも食べながら、皆で先生
I heard barbecue. Yeah, there it is. The reverse syntax. I was getting ready for barbecue.
目の前に生徒がいるのだから、教えたくなるの
Oh
が
yeah, you're gonna learn. You are gonna learn today. And you're gonna like it. Whether you want to or not. Gas actually is kind of genius. Wow, he's quick with it. How much did all this cost? I wonder. It's not good for the economy. It's wasteful. Then again, there's no economy if the world is destroyed.
大丈夫ですか、皆さん。
まあなんとか。
Don't worry, it's just plastics that we're breathing. Sure, that's harmless.
回避反応が遅れたんだ。
That is always and forever his biggest weakness.
とことん駒にしてくれやがって。
Shiro be using people. He does that.
イトナ君。
Right into the trap. Willingly. But the kids are gonna back up. The kids are a second blade, probably in this case.
無力だ。だから協力者にも見捨てられた。
There's a sad backstory here. This is very Shigaraki, this shot.
私が作った強力な細胞を使いこなすのに不可欠なものだ。
It's like the sixth kid this week.
私と一緒に足し算をやらないか。勝利への道筋を考える。
He's probably playing a numbers game.
君の執念プラス私の技術イコール。
Well, I mean, he needed anything to get off this alleyway street.
力への執念があったから。
Yeah, because he's powerless. That's the fixation.
俺はあんな雑魚たちに負けるのか。
Nobody's. There's my second blade.
なんだ。おかげで俺らがタコに変
I
わって
wonder who it is. I wonder if we'll know the person.
寺坂。
It's not the principal. Principal wouldn't go out like this. He's too cool.
勘違いしないでよね。白のやつにムカついてただけなんだから。コロ先生が行かなければ私たちだってほっといてたし。
I mean, he hasn't exactly ingratiated himself with us. We had a hole in our classroom for weeks.
あなたはいつも周到な計画を練りますが、生徒たちを巻き込めばその計画は台無しになる。当たり前のことに早く気づいた方がいい。
I mean, he's got the same complex.
くれてやるよそんな子は。どのみち2、3日の命。みんなで仲良く過ごすんだね。
It's kind of frustrating to me. I think there's a point like if you're losing repeatedly and you are surviving because of someone else's charity, you just gotta stop. Just stop it. Sometimes fighting happens. Sometimes there's a contest of will or physical power, whatever. It's great if it's avoidable, but we're animals at the end of the day. Guys especially will fight. But like somewhere in there, in very specific circumstances, even if it's not an ideal way to settle things, there is like a positive in there somewhere to be had. Like there's a reason this comes up. And not that dissimilar from sports. It's like you're trying to establish what the rankings are and what that means. And there's a beauty and a benefit to knowing that. If you know the ranking, if you know where you stand for now, there's a chance or potential to suddenly fit into place in the role you're best suited to play so that you're stronger as a team or unit. This is the beauty of like the rivals become friends thing. The rivalry served a very important function. It's the challenge that pushes them along, and then probably one of them emerges victorious at some point, but both have benefited through that struggle. And if the two people are reasonable enough and have a high enough goal and motivation for wanting to be strong and wanting to engage in the competition in the first place, they then are alongside each other with a better understanding of each other's gifts and a respect for the other for having participated and fought at all. And and there's now some kind of unification that can happen. But all that is predicated on the winner being reasonable enough to recognize that once you've reached that point, there's no need to go any further to harm your opponent who's already lost. You are now causing destruction. It's the opposite of the goal. You're not building anything. You're not working towards anything. You're not engaging in any higher pursuit. You're just destroying things. You're undermining your own ability and strength even. So somebody who's wise as an opponent, when they emerge victorious, they will then offer the other person a hand, which is the off-ramp into that union. But that also requires the loser to have the sense to also see that. And for the loser to attack the victor again, they are spitting in the face of and undermining that very thing and also making it more difficult to do in the future for everyone involved. It's such a disgraceful act to sort of avenge an act of mercy because you're facilitating the undoing of mercy as a thing and the ability to form these kinds of unions at all. As the victor, it's kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't want to kill you. I don't want to hurt you. It's not my goal. But it's like, how long do I keep having to indulge this at my own risk for no benefit? This dude basically alive by the mercy of Koro Sensei and the students. You just gotta like stop it.
勉強も誠実もまやかした。結局、圧倒的な力を持っているかどうかだけだ。
Gee, I wonder how one could develop overwhelming strength if only there was a way.
そのためにはそうなった原因をもっと知らねばなりません。
でもな、
身の上話なんて素直にするとは思えねえな。
Probably he was a big believer at one point. He was a big believer and did things the right way, and it went horribly wrong until he went the other direction. That's a very similar trap. It's not the vehicle of the thing that matters, it's the thing itself that matters. This is the phenomenon by that thing of like, I think I know what I'm talking about more than you. I have a degree in it. No, I read an article. I studied the language for 5 years. Why don't I speak it?
どうしてイトナ君は携帯ショップを襲ってたのか。で、リツに彼につながるものを調べてもらったん
Ritsu
だけ
being
ど、
useful. Love to see it.
ここの社長の子供だった。
あ、
世界的にスマホの部品提供してた
I
町
feel like there's
工場だけ
something
ど、
about father issues here.
なんとなくみんな想像がついてきた。イトナ君が
He was abandoned and powerless and
勝利を
hopeless.
欲しがる理由。
And the person he believed in the most.
それでグレた
Is that all? What his parents threw him on the street? Big whoop. He finally got that thing out of his ear. It took him like 5 episodes.
俺らんとこでこいつの面倒見させろよ
If he dies, he dies. Nah, but he feels it. He gets it.
うちみたいな小さな工場でも誠実にコツコツやっていけばどんな大きな企業とも勝負ができるんだよ。
そんなものは、
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can do everything you thought was right and fail.
勉強も誠実も意味がない。それを上回る圧倒的な力の前には。
すまないイトナ。おじさんの家に世話になりなさい。
Well, that wasn't so bad. It wasn't like they tossed him out in the street. But I mean, if you're a kid, you can feel that way. And somehow he did end up on the street, so.
まずい。おまけに古い。手抜きの鶏ガラを化学調味料でごまかしている。トッピングの中心には自慢げに置かれたナルト。4世代前の昭和
Well, if assassination doesn't work out, you have a career in ramen.
チェーン店でも近くにできたらすぐ潰れる。うちの親は勉強してでも無残に負けた。
He really idolized his father. That's the pain.
いいので嫌なことなんか吹き飛ばせ。
いいの中学生が無弁で。
This is the least dangerous thing we've done this week. Remember that time we scaled a cliff to fight murderers?
復讐したいでしょ、白のやつに。名作復讐小説。
I'm not reading a book.
クリスト伯。
Don't say that helps me.
2500ページ。
Oh, this is a project.
最後の方は復讐やめるから。
Spoiler alert.
もうちょっとねえのかよ簡単に上がるやつだってこいつ頭悪そうじゃ
やべ。
He really hates reading.
俺は適当にやってるお前らとは違う。今すぐあいつを殺して勝利を。
Yeah, this is a thing too. I mean, I know this very well. You correctly identify a problem with the message you've been given, or at least the way you interpreted the message you were given, which at that age you probably can't distinguish, so it's the same thing. And it actually might be real and important insight, but it's a shock because perhaps it's your first major break from the safety structure of your existence as a kid. But you still haven't fully transitioned into being fully emotionally independent or self-reliant. So you still need like the feeling of acceptance or the external feeling of goodness. And so the way it often gets written is something like, I see the lies, and that's what makes me special. That's the goodness that I just traded by leaving the safety. I get now by being like a renegade or a maverick or smarter than everyone else. These sheep that believe in the system, and that identity thing creates the next challenge. That's the next obstacle. Because now you need to believe in that. I just basically said that. I'm not like you plebs, you normies who do things in this dumb, systematic way. Believing in school. Oh no, I'm attacking myself again.
おいイトナ
Turns out I love his increased role.
てめえに今すぐ奴を殺すなんて無理なんだよ無理のあるビジョンなんざ捨てちまいな
He also tried to take a shortcut
楽になるぜ
with them.
うるさい
Oh, he just caught it.
いつか店を継ぐ時があったら新しい味と経営手腕で繁盛させてやるってよ
He's also learning a lot from the mistakes.
ああイトナ 一度や二
Whoa.
度負けたくらいでグレてんじゃねえいつか勝てりゃいいじゃねえか
Oh god, that's such a good lesson. Yeah, I love that.
100回失敗したっていい3月までにたった1回殺せりゃそれだけで俺らの勝ちよ
Actually, it's much bigger than that, even.
その時の賞金で買い戻しゃ済むだろうがそしたら親も戻ってくら
Speaking of the hierarchy of games, the thing you're focusing on is actually probably just a vehicle of exploration for the higher game that can't be named. It's a subset of it. So you can fail abysmally at that thing, but that only is a real failure if it's a death sentence on your attempts at anything or just overall pursuit. To like make it bigger than that, I mean, they could fail to kill Koro-sensei, you know, assuming the Earth is still there. And then 10 years down the road, they can find themselves in a really critical situation for them in their lives. And they can use the lessons that they got from the failure in this instance to have success in a meaningful way for them, whatever that looks like at that moment. And I also know from experience, any victory at anything paints all of the failures that came before that in a completely different light because those were now the necessary steps to this victory that you covet and cherish. It's very difficult to be on the starting end of that because you don't have it yet. It's just pain and it's very real that it's not guaranteed. It sort of has to be not guaranteed and not easy for it to be something that's meaningful or something that's a sufficient challenge to like push to your potential. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people give up so easily or never try in the first place because they're aware of that. There's this idea of it's not whether you win or lose but how you play the game, and that's kind of incomplete because the victory also is important. What the victory does, what the striving to win does, is it creates very clear conditions so that you have a scale to evaluate where there's higher and lower and you can measure your progress. It's a solid objective backboard that you can put yourself up against so that you're growing around something solid, but at the same time while the attempt at winning or succeeding frames the growth is probably where the real beauty lies.
次の勝利のビジョンができるまでは俺は何をして過ごせばいい
Great question.
今日みてえにバカやって過ごすんだよ
Yeah, you're gonna flail around for a bit. It's alright.
バカの一言はこういう時力抜いてくれんのよ
You must humble yourself, Itona.
焦ってたのか
Yes. The passion is good. We can use that.
勝手にしろこの力も兄弟設定ももう飽きた
It's kind of nasty.
お来たかもう壁壊して入ってくるのは
I'm glad they're not letting this go because I also cannot.
最後は必ず殺すぞコロ先生
問題
Good.
児堀部イトナはこれでようやく僕らのクラスに加入した。
おい村松金がない吐くの我慢するからラーメン食わせろ
The way he asked that. Wow. Terasaka kind of came up big there as an older brother figure. I too was lost. I too hated the system and was frustrated and sought to seek refuge in identity games. I'm better than them. Look at all these losers caring about school. What kind of idiot cares about stuff? I've already made it. I am not a sucker, and that's what makes me great. What Terasaka said is an idea that's near and dear to my heart. Defeat is never final. And also something you see in Haikyuu. The goal is not even necessarily to win, it's to keep playing. Seeking the win is what allows you to keep playing. Also, just very like down to earth about the skipping step stuff. Trying to convince yourself you've already made it as kind of a way to avoid the work. Man, the amount of time I've wasted, especially in language learning, is what comes to mind. Where I'm like, daily study, nah, I'll have this language down in 3 months. Maybe a normal person couldn't master 1,000 vocabulary words in a day, but I'm no normal human being. And then like years later, you're like, man, if I just learned 1 word a day, 1 word really well, I would have been way ahead of the 0 words I learned trying to cram 1,000, trying to tell myself it was going to be easy. Again, I don't think the focus is the attachment to the methodology itself. I think certainly some things on average work better than others, but the point is the thing. It's getting good at the thing and doing whatever that takes and being honest about what that is and doing it even if it's unpleasant or difficult. So, I mean, with language, I think I could wager a guess in what would more generally, if you pick a person at random, work best based on their level and ability. But like, there are definitely some people who are studying that should be out there practicing. And there are people out there practicing who really should be like at home studying from a book. There are people for whom a class is the best thing. And there are people who they're just going to class to simulate the feeling of doing something when actually the class is an excuse to outsource the responsibility of actually doing the thing. I see this a lot in people around me who they say they really want to learn something and their first instinct is I'm going to go back to school, or it's like 100 hours of research into the perfect book which they never read. You definitely received the book. Yeah, you sat in the class. You definitely went. Or on the other side, yeah, you really immersed yourself. You really immersed. You heard a lot of the language that you didn't understand. But what's your actual goal and what's your actual measure? And like, are you really looking critically at your own progress and your growth, and what do you actually want out of the thing? Do you want to say you're doing this? Do you want to feel good telling yourself you're doing the thing? Do you want the attention of being known as someone who does the thing? Or do you actually want to really get good at the thing and do the thing? Because if that's the case, you will do any and probably all of those things. And you also will really do them. It's almost like for someone with that energy, there is no bad tool because they will get the maximum benefit out of any of it. There are people who will like find a book and it's like their one book that they can find on this thing. And they will memorize the book. You know, they will know every word, every line. They will create their own homework for the book. They will use the things they learned in the book. They will test the things they learned in the book because they're in that slipstream of the love of the thing and wanting to be good at the thing. And funnily enough, a lot of the time it's those people who will say they're terrible at the thing.